Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this is another special edition of the show regarding real estate in these novel times. And we're here in my own backyard now. I'm in the suburbs of Chicago. We're going to talk about the Chicagoland area. And with me is residential real estate broker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services here in Chicago, Andrea Geller. Andrea, welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Andrea, tell us a little bit about your practice and what you specialize in and the type of folks that you help.
So I work with clients throughout Chicago and the suburbs, mostly North Shore, and Northwest. I do represent clients in the western suburbs all the way up to McHenry County because probably 90% of my business is all referral. So I have a good grasp of what's going on both in the city and the suburbs. I'm helping those clients transition up and back either way, or out of the state or into the state.
Well, Andrea, what's been happening these days, especially during the pandemic? Has that affected, how has that affected Chicago real estate, have you seen?
So Chicago real estate pretty much has actually continued on and is stronger than 2019. If you look at the charts, we're going to see like a dip in March, in the beginning of April, as people were either scared to work, scared to go out, or we weren't exactly sure because there had been not a definition of if we were considered essential workers. Luckily, we were considered essential workers, so we were able to go out and show homes under guidelines. No open houses. The open houses are back, which mostly a lot of agents are doing them virtually anyways, because especially in the city market, Chicago has restrictions. So you can only, and it's not restricted to real estate, but just in general, you can only have 5 people in a condo in Chicago at a time. So we're kind of transitioning, but then you can see these numbers continue to go up, and early on, they got to a point where they were actually stronger than 2019's market. We're seeing a really strong market of people deciding that they don't want to rent anymore and they're able to get into condos for a less monthly payment than what they were renting for, which part of that reason is we're seeing first-time buyers going into larger condos than they would typically have with a greater down payment. We're seeing less and less of those 3 and 5 and 10% buyers. We're seeing a lot of 20%, 30% down buyers. So that's getting them into a place that they can stay in longer. Also, we're seeing people who bought that condo, that 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and now are transitioning out of that into single family homes. Some are staying in the city. A lot are going into the suburbs, especially with children, because most people think that the learned home is going to still be mixed with school for a long time coming. So not only do they need the office space, but they need a school space. And depending on how many people they have in the household, they are looking in different places based on budget.
So speaking of trends, are you hearing anything unique or unusual when people first contact you today? Are there any trends in the questions they're asking you?
It depends on listing or buyer clients. Listing clients, a lot of them are not sure where they're going to be. They know that their employers have told them that they're working home through 2021, no travel, things like that. So they're actually taking this opportunity to find if there's another space, say like another region of the country they want to go to. So they're actually selling now so that they can kind of wander while they have the ability to work from anywhere. So that's something that's a new phenomenon as a result of COVID. We're also seeing different outdoor spaces become more important. Having those dedicated workspaces, because in so many homes you have 2 people working, and then depending on if there's children in the house, you need the different learning spaces. So what a lot of people who had bought like 2-bedroom, 2-bath typical Chicago condos or a townhome, what they're finding is they can't be in that space anymore because the two of them are sitting there working. It's hard for two people to work in 1,100 square feet, especially if there's a child. So they're rethinking what they need. They also don't need to be near transportation anymore, which was so key, especially like in a Chicago market and the surrounding suburbs, where they would either need to be by a brown line or a red line or the purple line or a metro stop. Now that's becoming less important to them because they don't know when they're going to be going back to the workplace, if at all, where they might be just transitioning to a work at home situation. And the other thing that we're finding is parking and cars are becoming more important again, where the price of parking had gone down and the value of it, because in the city, talking in the city where parking spaces are deeded just like a condo, and people, because the companies are now paying to let them park if they have to go to their office downtown because they don't want them on metro trains or the CTA because of just being safe. So they're compensating them to actually drive. So that's a huge difference. And when you drive around, you don't see it in the city so much because there aren't parking lots near train stations. But when you drive around the suburbs, from the north suburbs to the western suburbs, wherever there's metro lines, those parking lots, might have a dozen cars now. They were empty in the beginning of COVID, but we're still seeing that transit, the importance of transit, which everyone thought was going to be key. If you would have asked anyone a year ago of getting rid of cars and things like that, that would have been the conversation. So the conversations have changed as to what we expected the way society was going to go.
I appreciate that insight. So, Andrea, what inspired you to get started in real estate? How'd you get started?
Kind of a funny story. I had moved back here from Florida, didn't like what I was doing. It was a lot more fun to be driving around in Florida in the winter than calling on clients as a sales rep in winter in Chicago. So my sister said she was teaching real estate classes. And she's like, I'll give you a scholarship. I mean, it's like $300 or whatever to, to take the class. She's like, just see if you like it. You can do it at night, And I got into it and it was a time, it was right around 99, 2000. And developments were prominent. I was able to get just like jump started in this career that it takes people a lot longer to get where they need to go. Because of my experience, I started with developers and relationship-based things of people who I had met. So, and this is such a relationship-based business that it was the luck of those relationships that really set me to that career path really quickly.
That's fantastic. So today, in today's unique environment and unique market, what's like the number one piece of advice you'd give to folks today if they're looking to buy or sell?
Think about long-term and think about short-term, because it's a huge question of how we're going to be living, and will we continue living like this? How long will it be? But I also think that it's brought up a lot of questions of things that we just didn't think about. So you need to try and figure out what's going to work for the long term and not just for the pandemic.
Great. Andrea, for folks listening in that would like to get a hold of you, that you could potentially help, how do they find you and learn more?
AndreaGeller.com. Really easy way to reach me.
AndreaGeller.com. Awesome. Andrea, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my listeners today. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you so much.
Until next time, we'll have another expert profile. I'm Mark Imperial. Take care.